Most people think timing systems are about prediction, and that misunderstanding is why they stop trusting them. Most people encounter astrology, numerology, and other ancient timing systems at very different levels. Some people use them to understand personality. Some use them to make sense of what's happening around them. Others look to them for direction about what comes next. That's not the problem. The problem is that these systems are often treated as if they're all doing the same job, when they're not. Ancient timing systems were never designed to dictate outcomes. They were designed to describe conditions. Early civilizations didn't ask these systems to tell them exactly what would happen. They used them to understand the environment they were moving through. Periods of pressure, periods of growth, periods that demanded caution, and periods that rewarded momentum. That distinction is where most modern confusion begins. When these systems were first developed, they weren't entertainment tools. They were practical frameworks used by leaders, farmers, traders, and governments. They helped people recognize when the terrain had changed, not so they could predict the future, but so they could respond intelligently to it. Think about it like this. A weather report doesn't tell you what choices you'll make tomorrow. It tells you what kind of conditions you'll be operating in. Rain doesn't force you to stay inside, but it does change how you prepare. Timing systems work the same way. Western astrology doesn't say an event must happen. It describes longer cycles of expansion, contraction, accountability, or restructuring. These cycles help explain why certain periods feel heavier or slower, while others feel more fluid or open. Numerology approaches timing from a different angle. In numerology, time unfolds in repeating patterns that emphasize different kinds of pressure. Some periods favor movement and growth. Others favor consolidation, correction, or responsibility. These cycles don't tell you what you will experience. They describe what the environment tends to support and what it tends to resist. Chinese astrology adds another layer. Rather than focusing on individual events, it looks at dominant archetypes shaping collective behavior. A year associated with speed, intensity, or movement doesn't force outcomes, but it amplifies certain traits while testing others. This is where misunderstandings usually appear. People hear challenging period and assume it means failure. They hear favorable period and assume success is guaranteed. Neither is true. A challenging environment doesn't prevent progress. It demands precision. A supportive environment doesn't create success. It rewards preparation. This is why ancient systems were rarely used in isolation. No single system explains the whole picture. One maps timing, another highlights pressure, another describes temperament. When multiple systems point in the same direction, they don't create certainty. They create orientation. That's the real difference between prediction and prophecy. Prediction claims inevitability. Prophecy describes consequence. Prophecy doesn't say, this will happen. It says, if you move this way, these outcomes become more likely. That's why these systems endured for thousands of years. They weren't about control. They were about awareness. The modern mistake is treating timing systems like guarantees instead of guides. When you understand them correctly, you stop asking, what will happen to me? And you start asking, what kind of conditions am I in? And how do I move wisely within them? That shift changes how you interpret every cycle. Because timing awareness isn't about fear or hope. It's about context. And when you understand the context, you make better decisions, regardless of the fate. This is the prophecy pulse. Not to predict your future, but to help you understand the conditions shaping it, so you can move with clarity instead of reacting in confusion.